Ethan wiped the bar counter for the last time that night. His tavern stood alone on a quiet road, far from the town, surrounded by empty fields and cold wind. Most nights were slow, but tonight felt different. The air outside seemed heavy, as if someone was watching the tavern from the dark. He tried to ignore it and locked the front door halfway. He was ready to close when he heard footsteps outside. Slow. Dragging. Not normal. He paused. The sound grew closer, until a shadow moved across the frosted glass of the window. Ethan's heart beat faster. No one walked here at this hour. No one should be here at all. The door pushed open before he could react. A tall, thin figure stepped inside. Its long coat was covered in dust and mud. The hood was pulled low, hiding its face. It stood very still, as if listening to the wind. When it finally spoke, the voice was low and rough, almost broken. "Food, please." Ethan frowned. Something felt wrong. The figure lifted its head slightly, and Ethan saw a hint of pale blue skin under the hood. His breath caught. The stranger was not human. Every instinct told him to run or call someone. But something about the stranger's trembling hands and weak posture made him stop. The figure spoke again, softer this time. "Hungry, tired, please." Ethan knew he should not help. He knew this was dangerous. But his heart did not listen to fear. He stepped back and pointed to a seat in the corner. The stranger moved slowly, each step heavy, as if every part of its body hurt. Ethan heated some soup, his hands shaking. When he placed the bowl in front of the stranger, the hood slipped a little. Ethan saw more of the pale blue skin, cracked as if from cold. The eyes were large and dim, full of exhaustion and fear. Old eyes. Eyes that had seen too much. The stranger whispered, "Thank you." Ethan swallowed hard. Who are you?" The stranger did not answer at first. It ate slowly, carefully, as if each bite mattered. Finally it raised its gaze. "I am hiding," it said. "From hunters." Ethan felt a chill run through him. Hunters? What hunters? Before the stranger could reply, the tavern lights flickered. A humming sound came from outside. Headlights swept across the windows like a white blade. Ethan walked slowly to the window and peeked out. A black SUV stopped at the end of the road. Its engine rumbled deep and strong. It did not move forward. It just waited. Watching. Ethan stepped back from the window, fear twisting inside him. The stranger stiffened. "They have found my trail," it whispered. The lights flickered again, as if the SUV's presence disturbed something in the air. Ethan turned off the lights and motioned for the stranger to stay quiet. For a long moment, the tavern was silent except for the stranger's uneven breathing. The SUV slowly rolled closer. Its tires crunched on the gravel. When it reached the parking area, it stopped again. The engine cut off. Ethan could hear the ticking of the cooling metal. He could feel the danger like a weight pressing on his chest. After a full minute, the SUV backed up without turning and drove away into the night. Ethan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. The stranger's shoulders dropped with relief. "You should not help me," it said quietly. "They will come again." Ethan stared at it. "Then tell me why they're after you." The stranger hesitated. "Because I know too much. Because I lived here too long. Because I saw humanity, and I liked it." Ethan didn't understand. "You liked it?" The stranger nodded slowly. "Humans are strange. They destroy. They rebuild. They fail. They rise. There is hope in them." Ethan felt a strange warmth, mixed with fear. "What do they want from you?" "My capture," the stranger answered. "My silence. My end." Ethan leaned back, overwhelmed. Why was he, a simple tavern keeper, part of this? Why did the universe decide to drop this into his quiet life? The stranger finished the soup and placed the bowl down with a shaking hand. "I am old," it said softly. "I cannot run much longer." Ethan looked around the empty tavern. The shadows felt deeper now. The air colder. He knew he should ask the stranger to leave. But he couldn't do it. Even if it was foolish, he couldn't throw out someone who was hunted, hurt, and hopeless. "You can stay here for tonight," Ethan said. The stranger looked up with slow, grateful eyes. "You are kind, Ethan." Ethan froze. "How do you know my name?" The stranger only closed its eyes. Before Ethan could ask, a distant sound echoed from the road. Tires. Engines. Several of them. Ethan ran to the window and saw two black SUVs speeding toward the tavern, their headlights bright and sharp in the darkness. "They have found me," the stranger whispered. Ethan's heart pounded. The SUVs did not slow down. They came straight toward the tavern, engines roaring like predators who had finally cornered their prey. And Ethan realized that nothing in his life would ever be normal again. The tavern shook as the two black SUVs stopped outside. Their engines rumbled like thunder trapped in a metal cage. Ethan felt the vibration under his feet. He looked at the stranger, whose pale blue skin now glowed faintly, as if reacting to danger. "Hide," Ethan whispered. The stranger tried to stand but stumbled. Ethan grabbed his arm and helped him into the storage room behind the bar. The stranger leaned against the wall, breathing heavy. "They can sense energy," the stranger warned. "I cannot hide for long." Ethan swallowed. He did not have a plan. He was just a tavern keeper, not a hero. But something inside him refused to let the stranger face danger alone. Then came the first knock. Not a light knock. Not polite. A slow, heavy knock that felt like someone hitting the door with a rock. Ethan stepped toward the entrance, his breath shaking. He opened it just enough to see a tall man in a black suit. The man's eyes were cold, hard, and empty, like glass that never reflected light. "Evening," the man said. His voice was calm, too calm. "We're searching for someone." Ethan forced a nervous smile. "This is a tavern. People come and go." Another man stepped beside the first. He was bigger, broader, and his stare went straight through Ethan, as if looking inside his thoughts. "We have reason to believe someone passed this way," the tall man continued. "Someone unusual." Ethan felt sweat on his palms. "I haven't seen anything." The tall man tilted his head. "Are you sure?" His tone changed slightly. "Dangerous. Testing." Ethan nodded, trying to keep his voice steady. "Just a normal night." The second man sniffed the air. Literally sniffed, like an animal picking up scent. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. "Something is off," the man growled quietly. The tall man pushed past Ethan without waiting for permission. "We'll have a look around." Ethan froze for half a second, then followed them, trying to stay close so they didn't open the wrong door. The men moved through the tavern with slow, controlled steps, touching surfaces, scanning corners as if they could smell fear. In the storage room, the stranger closed his eyes and tried to slow his breathing. The faint blue glow under his skin flickered. He fought it, pressing his hands together to control the energy. But a small pulse of blue light escaped under the door. In the bar area, the second man suddenly stopped. "There," he said. "Did you see that?" Ethan's heart dropped. "See what?" The tall man turned toward the storage door, eyes narrowing. "Something behind that door." Before Ethan could react, the tall man reached for the handle. Panic surged through Ethan. His body moved before he could think. He grabbed a stack of metal trays and dropped them loudly on the floor behind the counter. The noise crashed through the tavern like breaking glass. Both men spun around toward the sound. Ethan pretended to trip, landing on the trays. "Sorry." "Sorry. Just slipped." The tall man stared at him, eyes sharp, suspicious. The second man scanned the floor, the walls, Ethan's face. Ethan held his breath, praying they would not go back to the door. After a tense moment, the tall man stepped closer to Ethan. "If you see anything, anything at all, call this number." He placed a black card on the bar. No name. Only numbers. No symbols. No logo. Nothing human about it. Ethan nodded quickly. "Of course." Both men walked to the door. Before leaving, The second man leaned in close to Ethan's ear. "He is close," the man whispered. "We will return." Then they exited the tavern. As the SUVs pulled away, the headlights cut through the darkness like blades. The sound of engines faded slowly, leaving a heavy silence behind. Ethan stayed still until he was sure they were gone. Then he rushed to the storage room and opened the door. The stranger was on the floor, weak, shaking, his blue glow dim. "They know," he whispered. "They will come again. Stronger." Ethan helped him sit up. "We'll think of something." The stranger looked at him with tired eyes. "Why do you help me?" Ethan opened his mouth to answer but froze when he noticed something outside the window. A third black SUV. Unmoving. No headlights. Just sitting there in the dark, watching. Ethan felt his heart stop. "They never left," the stranger whispered. Ethan slowly backed away from the window. His hands were shaking, but he forced himself to stay calm. The third SUV sat like a silent monster in the darkness. No lights, no sound, just waiting. Watching. The stranger tried to stand, but his legs shook under him. Ethan grabbed his arm and helped him to a chair. The faint blue glow under the alien's skin flickered weakly. "They never left," the stranger whispered again. "They're studying the building. Measuring the energy I released." Ethan felt a cold fear run down his spine. "What do they want from you? Why chase you like this?" The stranger looked down. "Because I carry knowledge they fear. Because I lived on Earth in peace, and they believe my sympathy for humans is dangerous." Ethan frowned. "Sympathy? For us?" The stranger nodded slowly. "Humans have a fire inside them. A strange, powerful hope. I admired it. But the hunters, they believe humans should never learn about us." Ethan didn't know what to say. He wasn't special. He wasn't a hero. He was just a tavern keeper who closed late and served soup. Why was he suddenly part of a galactic secret? Outside, the engine of the hidden SUV started quietly, too quietly, like a machine built for a hunt. Ethan whispered, "They're coming back." The stranger closed his eyes. "If they enter, they will not leave without me. You must run." Ethan shook his head. "I'm not leaving you." The stranger opened his eyes again, surprised. "Why? You owe me nothing." But Ethan did not answer. Something deep inside him had already chosen. He would not abandon someone who came to him hungry and afraid. Then the tavern lights flickered again. Once. Twice. Then went dark. Total darkness filled the room. Ethan's breath caught. They cut the power. The stranger stood unsteadily. "They are preparing to strike." A slow metallic sound echoed outside, the SUV doors opening. More than one. More than two. Heavy boots hit the ground. Multiple hunters. They were surrounding the tavern. Ethan grabbed a flashlight from behind the bar and clicked it on. The beam cut through the darkness, lighting the stranger's pale face. The glow under his skin grew brighter, reacting to fear. "Please," the stranger whispered, "if they take me, you must not fight. Humans break easily." Ethan swallowed. "I'm not letting them take you." Before the stranger could reply, glass shattered on the far side of the tavern. A window exploded inward, sharp fragments raining onto the floor. Ethan jumped back, the flashlight slipping, rolling across the floor. A beam of red light swept into the tavern through the broken window, scanning the room like a hunting laser. The stranger whispered, "Do not move." But it was too late. The red beam stopped on the stranger's body, locking onto the glow under his skin. A mechanical voice from outside spoke, calm and empty. "Target located." Ethan felt his heart drop. Suddenly 3 men in black suits climbed through the window, moving with unnatural speed. Their eyes were covered by dark visors, their weapons pointed at the stranger. Ethan stepped in front of him without thinking. "Don't!" he shouted. One of the hunters spoke with a cold, emotionless tone. "Human, step aside." Ethan didn't move. The hunter tightened his grip on the weapon. "This being is not your concern." Ethan's voice shook, but he stayed where he was. He came here for help. He's not dangerous. The hunter leaned forward slightly. You are protecting something you do not understand. Behind Ethan, the stranger's knees buckled. The blue glow pulsed under his skin, brighter, sharper, like a heartbeat turning into a warning light. Ethan glanced back. What's happening to you? The stranger shook, barely standing. My energy is unstable. The fear, the pressure. I cannot control it. The hunters stiffened. One of them spoke urgently. He's charging. Move. Ethan didn't understand. Charging? Like a weapon? A bomb? A shield? Before he could ask, another window shattered on the opposite side. More hunters poured in. The tavern was now surrounded from all sides. The stranger whispered, I didn't want this. I never wanted harm. Ethan grabbed his arm, but the alien was shaking too hard to stand straight. One hunter shouted, Contain him. Now. They rushed forward. And then it happened. A burst of blue light exploded from the stranger's skin. Not a blast, not an attack, but a wave of energy so bright Ethan had to shield his eyes. The hunters staggered back, their weapons buzzing and glitching from the shock. The entire tavern floor trembled. Objects lifted off the ground, trays, glasses, even chairs, floating in the air like gravity had forgotten its job. Ethan stared in shock. The stranger whispered with a trembling voice, Ethan, run. But Ethan couldn't move. He couldn't breathe. He could only watch the glowing figure at the center of the collapsing world. Outside, the third SUV suddenly roared to life and sped straight toward the tavern. The hunters screamed. Everyone down. But Ethan did not move. He only saw the stranger's sad, tired eyes. And then the tavern exploded in white-blue light. The white-blue light swallowed the tavern like a rising storm. Ethan felt the world twist, as if time bent for a moment. Then everything went silent. Not quiet. Silent. A deep emptiness where even his heartbeat felt distant. When the light faded, Ethan fell to the floor, gasping. Dust rained down from the ceiling. The air was thick and heavy, glowing faintly like the end of a lightning strike. The tavern was wrecked. Tables overturned. Glass everywhere. Parts of the wall cracked open. But Ethan was alive. He pushed himself up slowly. His ears rang. His vision blurred. When it finally cleared, he saw the hunters scattered on the ground, stunned, their weapons dead and smoking. The SUV that had charged the building was half crushed against the wall, its front smashed as if it had hit an invisible barrier. And in the center of the ruined tavern stood the stranger. No longer weak. No longer shaking. He floated a few inches above the ground, his skin shimmering with bright blue veins of energy. His eyes glowed white like small suns. Ethan stared in shock. This wasn't the old, tired alien who needed help. This was something powerful. Too powerful. But when the stranger saw Ethan, his glow softened. He lowered himself to the floor, energy fading, body shaking again. I am sorry, he whispered. I did not want you to see this. Ethan stepped closer carefully. You saved me. The stranger nodded weakly. You showed me kindness. My energy acted to protect us both. Ethan looked around at the injured hunters. Are they dead? No, the stranger said. Just unconscious. Their suits protected them. They will wake soon. Ethan felt a cold twist in his chest. Then we need to leave. The stranger closed his eyes, exhaustion crushing him. I cannot run anymore. My body is too old. My energy is unstable. I will only slow you down. Ethan knelt beside him. I'm not leaving you. The stranger gave him a sad smile. Humans, always surprising. Ethan reached out to help him stand, but the stranger gripped his wrist firmly. There is something you must know, the stranger said. I was not only studying humans. I was hiding something dangerous. A secret your world is not ready for. Ethan felt a chill. What secret? Before the stranger could answer, a deep humming sound filled the air. Louder. Bigger. Not from an engine. Not from any machine Ethan knew. The remaining wall of the tavern shook. Dust fell like rain. Ethan looked outside. A massive black aircraft, smooth, silent, and completely alien, descended behind the tavern. It reflected no light. It made no wind. It simply appeared. Ethan's breath caught. What is that? The stranger's face tightened with fear. They brought the collector. They want me alive. They want my memories. All of them. A large circular opening formed on the underside of the aircraft, glowing with cold light. A metal platform extended downward, heading straight toward the tavern ruins. Ethan grabbed the stranger's arm. We need to run now. The stranger shook his head. I cannot escape the collector. It will track my energy anywhere. Ethan looked around desperately. The hunters on the floor were starting to move, slow but waking. The glowing platform from the aircraft was almost inside the tavern. Tell me the secret. Ethan whispered urgently. Tell me what they want. The stranger looked into Ethan's eyes with a painful expression. I carry a message, he said. A message from before your history began. A warning your world must hear. But if the hunters take me, the warning will die with me. Ethan grabbed him tighter. Then tell me. Whatever it is, tell me. The stranger shook his head again. I cannot speak it. It must be shown. Stored. Passed into a mind brave enough to hold it. The glowing platform hummed louder. Ethan shielded his eyes. The hunters finally stood, their visors cracked, their steps shaky but determined. They aimed their weapons at the stranger again. Ethan positioned himself in front of the alien. You're not taking him. The nearest hunter shouted. Move, human. You do not understand. But Ethan didn't move. The stranger took Ethan's hand. I am sorry, he whispered. For what? Ethan asked. Before he could react, the stranger's glowing hand pressed against Ethan's forehead. A burst of light shot into Ethan's mind. Images, voices, symbols, whole galaxies, planets dying, stars collapsing, ships of impossible size, a warning repeated again and again in thousands of languages. Ethan screamed. He fell to his knees, clutching his head. The stranger collapsed beside him, his glow fading fast. The hunters rushed forward. The alien aircraft platform locked onto them. Ethan couldn't breathe, couldn't think. His mind was full of something huge, something powerful, something terrifying, and something important. The stranger whispered with the last of his strength. Now, you carry the message. Before Ethan could speak, the hunters grabbed the alien and pulled him toward the glowing platform. Ethan tried to stand but fell again, dizzy, overwhelmed. The stranger looked back at him with sad eyes. They will not stop, he said. Now they will hunt you too. And the platform began to rise. The platform lifted the stranger higher and higher, the blue light wrapping around his weak body like chains. Ethan forced himself to stand, his legs shaking, his vision spinning. His mind felt full of fire, images, voices, warnings, but he didn't understand any of it. Not yet. Below him, the tavern was destroyed. Smoke curled between broken wood and shattered glass. The hunters stood around Ethan, weapons aimed at him, unsure if they should capture or kill him now. Stay down, one hunter ordered, his voice harsh. You are contaminated. Ethan wiped blood from his eyebrow. He didn't contaminate me, he said. He trusted me. The tall hunter stepped closer. His visor cracked down the middle, revealing one cold, grey eye. You have something inside your mind now. Something forbidden. Something dangerous. Ethan breathed deeply. I don't want any of this. It doesn't matter what you want, the hunter replied. Now you are a threat. Ethan felt his heart pounding in his chest. A threat to who? The hunter leaned in slightly. To everyone. Above them, the alien aircraft hummed louder. The platform reached the center of the glowing circle. The stranger's energy flickered, weakening. He looked down at Ethan with fading strength. Remember, the message, he whispered. Ethan reached out, helpless, unable to touch him. What message? Tell me what it means. The stranger tried to smile. You will understand, soon. The hunters pulled him fully onto the platform. The circle began to close around him like a giant mechanical iris. Ethan shouted, "Stop! Don't close it!" But the hunters ignored him. The platform rose higher, the light growing stronger. The stranger's face was almost hidden now. Ethan forced himself forward, rage rising in him like a storm. You can't take him. He came here for help. The tall hunter stepped in his way. Human, stop now. Ethan pushed him. Hard. The hunter flew backward, crashing into broken tables. Ethan stared at his hands, shocked. He didn't mean to push that hard. He didn't even know he could. The other hunters looked at him with sudden fear. He's activated, one of them whispered. Activated? Ethan didn't feel activated. He felt terrified, exhausted, confused. But inside his mind, the strange images burned brighter. His heartbeat echoed like thunder. His eyes felt hot, almost glowing. What did he do to me? Ethan asked, voice shaking. The tall hunter stood again, slower this time. He transferred the warning into you. The message is inside your brain now. That makes you the next target. Ethan stepped back. I don't want it. No one wants it, the hunter replied darkly. But once the message chooses a mind, it cannot be removed. Above them, the alien aircraft began to rise, preparing to leave. The platform closed completely around the stranger, sealing him inside. Ethan's voice cracked. Wait. He said humans need the warning. You should let him speak. The hunter shook his head. His message will only bring chaos. Collapse. The universe is not ready for humans to know the truth. Ethan felt something shift in his mind, something sharp, something alive. A voice. Not words, not yet, but something like a memory waking up. He pressed his hands to his head. Stop it, stop it. The aircraft lights changed. It was preparing to fire something, maybe erase evidence, maybe erase the entire tavern. Ethan staggered backward. What are you doing? The tall hunter stepped away from him. We erase what we cannot control. A loud humming filled the air. The aircraft pointed a beam downward. The hunters began moving away from the blast zone. Ethan realized what was coming. They're going to destroy the tavern, he whispered. And me with it. The hunters didn't deny it. Ethan turned and ran behind the counter, searching for anything, any cover, any escape. But his legs felt heavy, his vision flickered, and the strange message inside him pulsed with bright pain. Outside, the beam of the aircraft charged brighter, brighter. The stranger's muffled voice echoed faintly from inside the craft, a last message. Ethan, survive, they must not take the truth. The beam fired. A massive explosion of light hit the tavern. Everything shook. Glass shattered. Walls broke apart. Heat roared through the building. Ethan threw himself to the ground, covering his head. The world became white. And then, dark. When the dust slowly started to settle, the hunters stared at the blast zone. One of them whispered, "Did it kill him?" Another shook his head slowly. "No, look." Through the smoke, through the broken beams, through the fire, a silhouette stood. A human silhouette. Ethan. But something inside him was different. He lifted his head. His eyes glowed bright blue. The message inside him was finally awake.